Want to go ahead and start?
I just wanted to welcome everybody to Learn It Live. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am super excited to introduce our guest speaker. It's Randall Rodriguez with R&R Business Solutions. His business has been, in the Valley for over 25 years, and it's a really true family owned business. He has his kids, his daughter, his sons working alongside him, and we just love to see that. So without further ado, I'd like to turn it on over to Randall, and he's going to talk to you about some really cool stuff today.
Great. Thank you. Appreciate it. Now, with R&R Business Solutions, we have been around a while. We've been doing marketing. And at first, I want to welcome everybody to December 1st. It got here so quick, and we really didn't expect it to come this quickly. I know a lot of my clients and customers got caught off guard. But the way the year's been going, nobody can say it's been what has been expected. So in that, I like to go back to what we call marketing basics and strategy. It's nothing new, nothing uncovered that hasn't been around for a while, but sometimes we just need reminding of the basics in that. And so the presentation I'm about to share is really about that category of just what is marketing at the basics. Of course, it's going to be different for every service, every industry. So my suggestion is if you want to get a hold of us, I'll go ahead and send information out as far as email. Our website's there. You can reach us at the contact form or just give us a call at our 800 number as well. If you ever want to have more specific information for marketing, we do free consultation all the time with our clients. So welcome aboard, and let's get started with our first topic. And we will start off what we call strategies for your business. And the way we're going to see it today is we're going to treat it like a vehicle. This is your high performance vehicle that you're ready to jump in your business and you're ready to go, and whatever you have a passion for that type of vehicle. That one happens to be one of mine, which you see on the screen there. But whatever that passion is, this is your vehicle, this is your baby, and you want to make sure that it's ready to go where you want it to go and need it to go. And that is your business's same scenario. So let's go ahead and move forward to the next slide. See here, and we will talk about going where, the first thing is the destination. Where are you going to go? And knowing the roadmap. That's basically the GPS of your destination. Is you want to know exactly where you're going to head, and what the outcome. Now, the outcome is, what does success look like? Be specific and be detailed. Because sometimes that's you don't know for sure what that success and roadmap is going to look like. So we'll go ahead and put up that first bullet point. And I know I have the images coming up first, but the outcome, what does it look like? You got to be very, very specific in your mind and then be able to visualize that and then put it down on paper at the same time. If you don't, it's like you're in a vehicle not knowing where you're headed in what direction. So that is very, very important, because you want to know what it looks like in that success. And whether it's like, well, success to me is having 500 customers, 200 customers, 1,000 customers, or having this much income come in. So you want it to be able to be measured. That's our next bullet point, is make sure it can be measured by whatever the income, profit margins, the calculated monthly, yearly. Basically, this will keep you from driving in circles, because you want to know how you can measure it and is it measurable as well. So in doing that, you always want to make sure that not just profit dollars, but expect what you can write down and then revisit it. And don't beat yourself up every time you don't make it or you come close, or even, of course, you're not going to do that if you exceed it. And I've seen that done a lot of times, because a lot of times we got to be realistic when we do write down our goals and then what we want to be 1 month from now, 1 quarter from now, 1 year from now, 5 years from now. So that is something that you always want to make sure is that, can I measure it? So on the next bullet is planning to go to review the results, because you want to be able to review afterwards. And that's the time where you sit back and you look and say, okay, did this work? How can I review this? Well, how much services or products did I sell? Did I sell on a daily basis, weekly, monthly? So you want to be able to go back and look at that and review the results of that. So that way, that where you're headed in that destination, if you can review the results, you're headed in the right direction. So that is a big, big goal in there. So we'll take questions at the very end. So what I'm going to suggest is if you have questions in any of the areas, and I'll summarize them at the very end, is write them down now. So that way you have a question in there. It's specific to your industry, and we'll see if we can help you here as well. If not, you're more than welcome to contact me. So going over to the next slide, we're going to make sure that we're fueled up no matter what, and when we want to say fueled up, it's marketing is your gas for your vehicle and business. And you need fuel for your vehicle because let's face it, without gas, without fuel, you're not going to go anywhere. And unless you're in a business where customers are running to you, that's not going to happen. So you need to make sure that you have the fuel to go where you need to get your business at. And that is what we call the marketing is your fuel. So as we go through the fuel part of this, here's a few tips. First bullet point, how much gas do I need? And basically what that is, how many customers or sales do I want monthly, weekly? So you got to figure that out in order to figure out, okay, what do I need to perform? How much do I need? If I don't have enough gas, how am I going to get to my destination? And in that same sense, it's like, okay, well, if I have expenses to cover, whether it's rent, whether it's labor expense, materials, you need to know where your break even and where your profit starts. And so that's going to determine your success right away. As far as, okay, did I break even? Did I meet it? Did I exceed it? Or how far under did I fall short? Now, in marketing, yes, that helps, but there is an expense. In the next bullet, we'll talk about, I can trade my time for gas. So there are things that you can do marketing wise where you don't have to spend the dollars out there just immediately. Obviously you can't go out and do a TV commercial, pay for all these mass mail outs, if you're barely starting to open the doors, but you should have some dollars allocated for those marketing. And there are things you can do with your own time to trade it. So that's like social media posts, those don't cost anything but your time, but you are trading your time for that fuel. So you got to kind of determine what is my time worth and how much can I do on that to make it worth the cost of whether you're cold calling, involved in networking, whatever you're trying to do, trade that time, go ahead and look at all that, because that does help. Because when you get to the point where, okay, now I need to hire a salesperson or somebody to help me in that, at least you know what's involved in it. That way you can go ahead and determine, okay, can I trade that? And I always say it's before you hire somebody, it's almost like you're going to be working for two people at the same time before you actually get to a point where you have to hire somebody. Because that's kind of usually it's like, okay, you work for a person and a half or two, and then you're able to hire somebody. And then in the same thing, that's next scenario until you get a good goal and budget in there. So, and that's the next bullet point is how much should I pay for my gas? And that's where we talked about what is your time worth? How much of a budget should I plan for marketing? Because the last thing you want to do is run out of fuel and run out of fuel right in the middle of something that you're like, wow, this thing was going so good, but then I ran out of resources in the fuel. Whether it was a mail out, whether it was just social media posts, but now you find yourself with dissatisfied customers. And that happens too. You get so busy doing your marketing yourself on your own time, sometimes you're not giving the attention your customers deserve for the product and service that you're delivering, because you're trying to do a little bit of one end of the spectrum to the other. It's finding that happy medium of how much could I do without interfering with my product, with my customer service. So that's something you want to really sit down and look and measure and vision, and that's what I call, that's how you're paying for it. How much is my time worth? Because the last thing you want to do is start off a business and have a bunch of customers or clients upset at your product or your service because you just didn't have the time to spend with it as you needed to get it done to the satisfaction of your customers and beyond that. And that's where that trade really has to be measured by you personally and figuring out, am I trading enough time? Am I trading too much time? So that's a very intricate part in the fuel process of what we call marketing is your fuel. So let's go on to the next slide. And this is something that, a lot of us some businesses are always thinking like, whoa, what happened? Because they don't expect detours. But be prepared when possible. You can always be prepared for detours if you start planning ahead. Like, well, what if this happens or what if that? But I know there's going to be some things on the obstacles that we need to go around and plan and review your route. Doesn't mean you're changing your destination. It's just planning and making the route different. If you have to go left in order to go around something that you didn't plan for, it's okay, and then reevaluate it as well. That's the main thing, is not to be so caught off guard. And a lot of times we are caught off guards. And the main thing is not to make decisions on emotions when you're caught off guard like that. And that is so critical, because you really want the time to, when that detour comes up and that obstacle comes up, you want to take the time to really sink it in, think it over. Don't react on emotions, because that's the worst thing you can do, is kind of a knee-jerk reaction to something. And then all of a sudden you're like in a position or in a location that you did not plan in. And it's going to be either a longer journey or almost having to backtrack completely to get to that destination. So expect the detours. Don't let your emotions get the best of you when they do come up. And just relax, take a few minutes. And that's where I personally will start asking questions. I write down my own questions. And then sometimes it's funny, because when you write down your own questions, you find yourself giving yourself your own answers. And even if I have to contact associates or friends or business, if you have a mentor, I always suggest business mentors or business friendships, that somebody you can bounce off ideas to, and they can bounce back and forth, will give you that honest opinion, regardless of trying to hurt your feelings. Because sometimes we think about our employees, and sometimes our employees don't want to upset us, don't want to give us the wrong answer. And I always tell, when we do marketing for clients, I said, okay, you have to make sure you understand that we're not a yes people. We're not going to just go with your idea and just say, well, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. We're going to tell you, no, that does not sound like a good idea, and here's why. Not to say you won't have good ideas, or we won't get good ideas from you or our clients, but we're not going to be there just to please them and say yes when we really feel that, no, that's not the right answer. That's not the right plan. That's not the right destination you need to go to. And it's time to, do I need to change my destination? That's in the next bullet point. And basically, do I need to change it, is I need to adjust it, make my adjustments. A lot of times we think we're going to head in one area, one direction as a destination. We figure out, you know what, we can't go there until we've gone here yet. We're not ready for that growth yet until we tackle this first. And that takes a lot of review to go over that. And then you want to make sure that if you do change that direction and you change that destination, that your whole staff understands that. So you want to cast that vision out, whether you write it down yourself, which I strongly advise, and then how am I going to communicate this to my staff, my customers? Instead of being marketing, you know what, we're going to go into promotional items, or instead of promotional items, we're going to go into marketing. How do we let our customers know where we're changing our destination to? We're doing production of this now, or no, we're going to start doing this instead. you have to figure out where that destination you wanted to lead to originally and why, and what's the reason now of having to adjust it or even change it. So those are things that don't be afraid to do it, but just take the time and make sure if you do make a change that you communicate it well and you have a well thought out strategy to have your staff follow you, and not only that, but your customers and clients to let them know as well. So in the next bullet point, we'll talk about my ETA, estimated time of arrival. A lot of times, if we are expecting to be on time somewhere, we just look at our GPS. And if we're fortunate, it'll give us traffic updates at the same time. But there's times where you thought, wow, I thought I'd be at my destination or my goal within 2 years, and here I am on the third year and I'm just halfway over there. Do I need to adjust that? What is it? My business are I at least still on track? Am I going to have to readjust my goals and figure out that it's going to take me 5 years instead of 3 years to get there? Or what is it that's slowing me down and has definitely impacted my estimated time of arrival at my destination? So those are things that you need to also look at when you're having that detour, is, how can I adjust that? And understanding that, and it's okay to revise visions. It's okay to revise goals. The main thing is communication and letting your team know, your staff know, and your customers as far as where you're headed and what you're doing. And if those adjustments need to be made, it's okay. Obviously, because it's like, I promise you that it's like detours will come up. There's always well thought out plans, but they always don't come out the way you exactly want them to. And if they do, that's great. That's awesome. Run with it. But when they don't, expect it, but don't get surprised. Don't be surprised either way. So, all right, let's go on to the next one I call vehicle maintenance. And this one here is a lot of times we forget this. We're running so hard, we're running so well. And it's like, okay, well, what happens if you run your vehicle without oil? Well, guess what? The engine goes eventually. Could you have prevented that? Well, yeah, if you've done your maintenance and had those routine checks and maintenance on your vehicle, on your business. So you got to treat your business the same way. You got to look at it often enough to where you're doing a self-evaluation within a quarterly or, some of them do monthly, but at least minimum quarterly and yearly. And this is looking at it and just saying, okay, do I need a tune-up in order to become more efficient? And branding is the one thing, and that's in our next bullet point. In the tune-up process, branding and image status comparable to your competition, and meaning that look at who's the competition around you. Have they just recently revamped their logo? Or does it look updated? Does it look outdated? What do they look like? What are they doing that's working for them? What good things are you hearing about your competition that you don't hear about your own company? And that's when you start to look at, do I need a tune-up? Do I need a branding process on my company? What branding is basically is taking your look and making sure that it looks consistent, color scheme, everything. So when you hand out somebody your business card, it looks like your website. It looks like your brochure. It looks like when they see those colors, they're like, oh, that's that company. That's their color scheme. That's their branding. And that's what gives you that image status where they start to think of you, even when they see something very comparable. There was one time we did a logo development and branding for a customer, and she had a cake shop. So we use a color scheme of pink and brown. And it was so funny is when we branded everything, the website, her literature, her business cards, and she was so pleased with everything. She told me at one time she was at her shop in her bakery, and customer came in and said, "Oh, I saw your advertisement somewhere at Kohl's." And she's like, "No, I'm not advertising in Kohl's or anywhere like that." What happened is they happened to see the color scheme of her branding, and then they immediately thought of her business because of the color schemes. Wasn't necessarily her logo, wasn't necessarily any, but the thing is, the branding process was taking effect in that customer's mind. So when she saw those colors, guess what? She thought about that business more so probably the cupcakes that went with it. So, and I don't blame her. I mean, how many times you think of something or you smell something and you think of whether it's a hamburger or French fries, and like, oh, McDonald's, and or In-N-Out or things like that. So that is all image you have to look into. Bullet is sometimes we need a major overhaul in our business. And when I think of when I think overhaul, it's new branding, new logo, and then figuring out, do we have the right customer base? Sometimes you need to change your customer base, especially if you fall into something that you didn't want to fall into, and you're figuring out like this, why aren't my customers the customers I want? What happened? Well, what are you doing to attract the customers you currently have? And what should you be doing to attract the customers you want to have? There's a big difference. And you have to look at that. Do I need a new image? Do I need a new logo? Do I need to revamp my branding? So I want to be a business they see value in. Well, value is cost too. It's not, I always tell customers that, no, I'm not the least expensive. I'm fair in our pricing, but the service and the quality is what you're going to get and receive. And customers will pay more for the quality and the service that's out there rather than, do I want the cheapest? So that's when you think, that process of, do I need that major overhaul? And then in that process, that's when you can determine that, okay, I do. Well, how do I get started? Well, you start with the logo and you start with the vision first. The vision, you have to write that down. You have to write down, what do I want my customers to see me at? What type of service and product do I want them to receive in satisfaction, and figure that out. And then you start writing your summary, your mission statement. Mission statements are always great to have. And I encourage everybody to always write a mission statement of your company and what your customers want, what you expect your customers and clients to receive and see you at. And then start measuring that. Do they see me that way? Is there a reason why they do or don't? So that's what you want to start looking at. And then our next bullet point talks about, in that process, that's when you start developing what we call a vehicle maintenance plan. Basically, that's customer reviews, customer rewards. You start looking at testimonies. You start developing loyalty and reward programs or VIP programs when you get to that point where these are the customers that I want, and these are the ones I want us, your best sales team are your customers. That referral process is very strong and it goes a long way. I used to attend quite a few mixers here and there prior to COVID, of course. And I used to always have a client of mine, and I used to always call her, she's like my best pin sales rep, because we do promotional items and pins. And she would literally bring customers over to me because of the product she got and the service level she received. And she said, this is a guy who got my pins. This is a guy I'm telling you about. And I love my pins. And she just was so happy and ecstatic about it. She was like my representative for my pin promotions. And it was awesome. It was great, and I just cherished the moment. Every time she brings somebody over, he's the one who did my pins. And she'd even tell me a story about how she calls it the full circle on her pin. She said, she everywhere she goes, she hands out pins. One day at a restaurant, the waitress brings her the check and gives her a pin to sign her check or credit card. And guess what? It's her pin. She was so ecstatic. She said, that's me. This is my pin. And the waitress this is my favorite pin. She said, this pin, I love the way it writes. It has a stylus tip on it. I love the feel on it and the weight. And it was so funny because it was, she calls it her first full circle with her pin. And that is kind of neat, when you have somebody actually giving back one of your products that you somehow has gotten out there. So I love telling that story, and it's great. It's just I'm not trying to sell that specific pen. Later on, if you guys want to know which pen that was, you can email me. So, and we do run promotions on that one quite often. But it's that loyalty, and they are the best sales team you can have is a referral program, and we do a lot. When we do a lot of marketing and consulting, the first thing I always look for is what we call customer retention. So that's something I want everybody to write down later on, look at it, and then if you want to reach out to me, we can talk about it more, because it's retention is important. Because if you're just loading customers on the front end and not keeping them, there's something wrong. And you have to plug those holes, making sure that your customers are receiving rewards. You're having VIP programs. You're contacting them at least once a month, whether it's by email, phone call, or just a postcard, something. So later on, like I said, we could talk about that more, but that's something I strongly recommend on that. So I think with that vehicle maintenance plan, it'll help you quite a bit. So let's see here. We'll go on to the next slide, and here. Okay, and it's basically what I call enjoy the journey. And the reason for that is you have to really enjoy what you do. If you don't, you need to get out of the industry. People will know if you're not passionate and if you're fake. You ever see a salesman come up to you and they're just like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe anything this guy is saying." It's just the way you feel. But then you have somebody come up to you and talk about a product, a service, or something, and you see the passion in them when they're doing that. And they're like, wow, they really believe what they're doing. They really believe in the product and the service that they're giving, because they are enjoying it. All of us only have one life, so we have to enjoy what we do the most. And if you measure the time that you spend in your business, doing your business, that's what you need to be doing, is making sure that you are enjoying the journey on the way. And if you're not, my recommendation is keep looking out there till you find what that is, whatever that industry, whatever that product is. But you don't have to sell somebody if they have a passion for it and they catch the vision that you catch. And that's what's very contagious. And if you think about an individual who you really enjoy being around, it's because they're passionate at what they do, and they really believe what they were doing. They really believe in what they're doing, and they want to share it. And that's something that you really want to make sure that you're doing yourself. So always take a step back, make sure that you're enjoying the journey along the way as well. And anything else that, that of course, there's your family and your kids, but believe me, it makes it more enjoyable when you enjoy your business and your career and what you're doing as well. So in that, we'll go ahead and we'll leave it open for questions. I know this was, I might have rushed through this, but I know there's a lot of information. Like I said, it's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's just sometimes we need a reminder of what we need to be doing, especially in these times, and everything does work. So it's knowing that what you have and how to make it work, and trying that and being able to measure it. So I'll go ahead and turn this back over to Melissa. Or if we have any questions, let me know.
All right. It's okay. No, that was great. I'm not showing any questions in the chat at this time, but I really loved what you said about the detours, and those are going to happen, and just kind of knowing that on the front end and going, okay, well, what are possible detours, and being ready to acknowledge them so that it doesn't further, damage your business or what have you. I love that kind of, I love that you said that, it's okay to change directions.
Oh yeah, no, because we can be caught up like a deer in headlights, and it's like, wow, we're just stuck there, we're frozen. Right? And then, the thing is, and a lot of our own emotion, what follows is is depression right after that, because something didn't go as we expected, and we sink into a depression, and then we start to second guess everything we've done. And it just follows along, like, okay, what if I would have done this differently? What if I would have did, at that point, you need to look and start thinking, okay, where's my destination? Is that a good destination? What can I do to get there still? So that's, you need to start getting into creative thinking and getting out of that, frozen, and it's hard because there's always emotion that's involved, especially with your business and everything. But expect the detours.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason your car has a steering wheel, right? You can change directions and take it where you want to go. And I also love that you included it. When you want to make those changes, you have to communicate that not only to your staff, but your customers, and figuring out how to be super effective with that. Because, if you worked so hard on something and you're so excited for this new thing that you're doing in your business, and you didn't come up with a strategy to communicate it, it's like almost takes the wind out of your sales in some aspect, because you're like, oh, nobody knew, but it was so awesome.
Yep. And that's where communication comes across. And that's one thing that I always tell, especially if you're leading a team and you have employees and even your customers, you have to be able to communicate what the vision is of a product, a service, or whatever it is you're involved in your business. Because if you just keep that inside and expect everybody else to just kind of follow along, and nobody wants to follow somebody who they don't know where they're going. It's like, why should I jump in a car with you if I'm not sure of your destination? If you tell me, hey, we're going to go to Disneyland or we're going to Vegas, you want to come? Sure,
I'm there.
They say, well, where are you headed? You know what? It's in my mind. They don't say nothing. Just get in. I'm like, oh, well, I don't think about that.
I don't know about that one. Oh my gosh. Well, I think, and we've been saying this for the past few months, with everything that's changed because of COVID and all of that, now is the time to really look at your business and go, okay, what are the things that I do want to change? And how can I reflect that in my marketing and communicate that? Now's the time to revise your vision is kind of what you were saying. I think that it's a perfect time,
Oh, yes. Yeah.
to do that.
When COVID hit, we immediately got in communication with a lot of our clients, because, we came to almost a standstill ourselves, as far as we had a lot of things in production and campaigns already scheduled to go out and things like that. So everybody was calling us like, well, have we done this in production? Have we done production on that? If not, hold it. So we can understand that. We're like, okay, let's go ahead and put everything on hold, reach out to our clients. And the main thing we were telling our clients is stay in contact with your existing customers, whether you're open or closed, because you want to be in contact with them and letting them know, even if you're going to close temporarily, let them know that, what you're doing, because not until it's time to come back. And if they've already gone somewhere else, or they just have stopped that service completely, you're going to lose that if you didn't stay in communication with them, because there was a lot of opportunities also for other businesses to gain more clients, believe it or not, for those who didn't communicate with them, their existing ones.
Yeah,
so that
absolutely.
We saw that happen quite a bit too. And that was our main thing, was communication right now is key, whether you're open or closed.
Yeah, no, definitely. And how can you adjust your business to meet the needs of your clients if you haven't communicated with them and you don't know what they need? That's so crucial. So, I love that you had put that in there for sure, because it's so
Heather,
true.
I gotta tell you, I've been so amazed with Marietta Chamber, with the resources that they've been providing and the emails and everything, and letting us know, hey, we have this available, we have that available. Those are some key information, and just like the chamber is giving you all this information, I'm going to say you should be doing the same for your customers and clients.
Yes.
because that's the key right there.
Well, thank you so much for saying that. We work really hard to kind of digest all of the information that is out there and try to figure out, okay, what's the most important thing that our members need to know to help their business, because that's what our goal is, to help our business community thrive here. And so that can be applied to any business model, and just like you said, communication's key in getting that out there. And it's a two-way street for your car to drive on, for sure.
And what I'd like to do for our listeners today and viewers is I want to offer free business cards, 250 free business cards.
Awesome.
No strings attached. The only thing you get to cover is the postage. We mail them out to you now because of COVID. And the same thing for a banner. So it'll be either business cards or a banner. If you go on to our website at rrbizcenter.com, and that's spelled RRBIZ in the word center, CENTER.com. Go to the contact form and just, type in your information and just say you want a free consultation, or you want your free business cards on, because you saw it on Learn It Live. Go ahead and let us know, and then we'll send you out the information for free business cards or a free full color banner.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. That's such an amazing offer for all of those that are watching Learn It Live. That's huge. And, that's really the difference between, that makes all the difference when you're talking to your customers and taking care of your customers and wanting other businesses to thrive with you. So I love that. And thank you so much for that offer. You are awesome. And I'll put that in the comments on Facebook and on YouTube, and put that link in there, and a little bit of the instructions. And that's great. And we have somebody that commented, ACA Corp said, what a great offer, and thank you. And I echo that for sure.
Oh yeah, no problem. we try to, and this is just like anything, we try to help our customers as much as we can. And the thing is even when we used to do a lot of event planning and what we call co-marketing campaigns with them, we'd partner them sometimes up with a nonprofit, or nonprofits would come up and they'd say, okay, well, we have a need here, whether it's this, a banner or a promotional item. I said, well, you ever thought about a co-sponsor or a sponsor for it? And then we would contact a lot of our clients, and we'd have some of our clients just get right behind it and say, we'll take care of it. We'll cover the cost. If I said, well, they're happy to put your courtesy buy or sponsored buy on the very bottom of it. And we've got companies like, Rancho Medical Clinic or hospital, sponsor other nonprofits and things like that. So, that's something that it helps. And it's always, as much as you can help, is whatever you can do to help. And if you can partner up there and help both your business and another client, whether they're for profit or not, it's a good feeling. And then
yes,
everybody benefits. That's the main thing.
Yes, absolutely. I 100% agree with that. It always feels good to be able to partner and to lift somebody else up, because that just, lifts your own spirits and lifts everybody up. So love that. Yes. Well, I still don't have any questions in here, but, they may reach out to you, especially on your website, and we put that in there. So they may have questions or maybe things that are more specific to their businesses, of course. But I want to thank you so much, Randall. This was such a really fun conversation and such a cool presentation. I love the idea of marketing and comparing it to your car. It just makes it seem, taking a complex topic and really making it manageable for sure.
Well, thank you. It's like something that it's so funny is one of my children's were just sitting down one day and just talking about that. And then because my family does work with me as well, as much as they can. There's a couple of them that don't anymore, but we're pretty blessed that way. But we're just talking about the topic and how it's so relates to it as well, and it's very relatable and understanding about it. So Yeah, we're more than happy to be a service of this. So, and I want to thank you guys for the opportunity to do this as well. So we, like I said, the more we can be out there and helping each other, and that's what it really takes is you coming alongside and helping. I pulled on mentors and associates all the time, and business partners and everything, because there's nothing wrong with asking for opinions or help.
Right?
Yeah,
sometimes you're too close to something, and it really helps to get a fresh look and a fresh take, and to bounce ideas off people. That's huge.
absolutely.
Well, thank you once again. I really appreciate it. And thanks everybody for watching. And if you think that this information is helpful, go ahead and share this. We always welcome that. And yeah, thanks again.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you. We'll see everybody.